Okay, so we're going to approach this painting a little differently. I went ahead and painted the background all blue with this dark blue right here. And then I went back in with this light blue, and just about the bottom half of the canvas, I put it on there while it was wet and sort of blended it together. Okay, just around the bottom half of the picture. Okay, and so the colors that you're going to need for this patriotic painting are black, light blue, dark blue, red, and white. Okay, so go ahead and paint your canvas background dark blue with a light blue at the bottom. You might blend it a little bit nicer than I did, but we're going to put stripes on top of stuff, so we should be able to position it the way we want. And then you can unpause your video and go on from there. Okay, now that your painting is mostly dry, and we've got a little bit of light blue, we're going to come in and start putting some stripes for our flag. Be sure you have these brushes. I have a flat, I've got blue all over me. You know, I just touched this. Made a mess. I don't even know where I got that from. Probably the side of the canvas. Okay, so I've got this flat brush. I have one with a beveled edge that I kind of like to use. And then we have a number 10 round brush, number 8 round brush, and I've got, I don't know what size. This doesn't have a size on it, I don't think. This is a size 3 Royal brush, and then this is a size 2. Okay, so I basically use these for a lot of what I do. Okay, so that's what you're going to need, a flat brush and then just varied sizes of round brush. Okay, and then some water and a paint rag, and then this is our palette right now. We have, for this portion, now I may end up putting blue in here if I need it, but we're going to use red and white and then black. Okay, so that's the colors that you're going to need on your palette. And let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to grab my angled brush, and I'm going to dip it into the white paint, load it up a little bit. Not too... I'm going to actually load it, but then I'm going to sort of wipe it just a little bit. And then we're going to start at the top, and we're going to bring a little bit of a dry brush, and then we're going to kind of let it be really bright right there. And then wisp off to the sides. We don't want to blend it too well. Okay? And then we're going to skip a space. Then we're going to put another line here. I'm going to start there, just kind of in the middle there. And wisp it to the sides. Want our most intense parts to be right here. And then on either end, we want it sort of wispy. Okay, we're going to skip a space again, and we're going to put another white. This one can be a little bit more dry brush. I'm like using the fat side at some points, and then wisping. I'm going to add just a little bit of coming in and coming out of that color to make it more painterly. Okay. And then we're going to skip a spot down here, and we're going to come all the way over with this one, starting in the center and moving our brush out wispy in either direction. Now, I do have a little bit of the blue showing through, and that's okay. It kind of makes it painterly. And then one, maybe two more. Come down here. We're going to start in the center, wisping out in either direction. And then at the bottom, we're going to push kind of hard because we kind of want a little bit of that blue to come out. Okay, we actually want that at the bottom part. We want to mix it just a little bit. So I'm pressing sort of hard to kind of try to mix that slightly wet blue paint with the white. Okay. I'm just going to get a good mix down there. And we kind of want it to be just a little bit light blue. Okay, and sort of wasp itself up. Okay. Just kind of make your decisions here. Might put a little more white up here. Just to kind of make it seem like it's on purpose. And we're sort of dry brushing still. Okay, now I'm going to wash this brush because it's really messed up, full of white and blue paint. And then we're going to grab some red with the same brush, okay? I think we might end up just using our flat brush mostly for this. I thought I might do it with the other brush. Our brush is clean, wiping it on our rag. And now we're going to go into our red. Now the red may take a little bit more, I don't know, we'll have to see how the coverage is with this particular paint that I have. I'm using the Simply Acrylic Daler and Rowney paint. Overall, I've been happy with it, but okay, so we're going to do the same technique where we start kind of in the middle, and we're going to try to leave just the slightest bit of blue showing through, but we want our reds to be readable. So thick enough that we can read it as red, but not so thick that it covers up all of the blue. We want just a light, tiny bit of blue showing through. And we may come in here with a little bit more and make the center part of this red a little bit more intense. Same here. This one is going to go all the way over. If you can't see, we are making a flag. The impression of a flag. And then we're going to fill these in with red. This one's going to go all the way over as well. And then one more little one here. This one can be a little bit more faint. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put our brush in our water. And now is the fun part. We're going to take the end of our small brush, this little tiny brush, which is a 2. And I'm actually going to use the bottom of it to put some dots. I'm going to get some white paint on there, and we're going to make some stars. Some of them can be bigger, but we're not going to put them in an orientation. Now, if you'd like to, you can. But we're going to pretend like these are the stars in the sky, but also the stars on the American flag. And I'm doing this in honor of the 4th of July coming up next month. It's a little early, but I'm going to wipe this off, but I wanted to go ahead and get it out there so people could be planning ahead for it. All right, I think that I'm going to actually take my little tiny brush, and I'm going to try something. I may not like this, but I'm going to actually pull out some of these stars. From the center outward with just the tiniest touch. You could even do it with a pencil. In fact, I might try that because this is getting to be kind of big. So maybe we need something more scratchy. Maybe we need to use a pencil or the end of a paintbrush. Let's try this X-Acto knife. I don't know. No, maybe that's too pointy. Maybe you could use a toothpick. I need something very pointed, and my pencils aren't very sharp. Trying to find a little tiny brush. Maybe this one would work. This is a very tiny brush. It's a 0. So let's use this brush. I'm going to wet it a little bit. It's really tiny. I don't know if you can see that. Really little. And I'm just going to pull some of these out. That might work. We're going to make kind of like a T coming out of some of them. And then let's just do some little messy stars with this little tiny brush as well. You don't have to do all of them that way. I might actually use this tiny brush and just do a few more. I don't want to go too crazy. It's easy to go crazy with polka dots, but we want to make it look like some of these stars might be far away. And all we're doing is giving the impression of a night sky and an American flag. Okay, so we're done with our red and our white, and now we're going to move on to our silhouette. So for that, we're moving to our black paint. And I wanted to do this silhouette in honor of farmers. Okay, so some people that put trees or other things, but I thought that it would be kind of fun to do a farm scene. And so I'm going to do a silhouette of a farm scene. So first thing that I'm going to do is establish the bottom of my painting. So I'm just going to draw a line. It doesn't have to be perfect, to establish the bottom as black. Okay. Now, I wanted to put a fence here. So I was going to have a fence. So we're going to draw a fence post with black. This one's going to come up a little further. This one's going to start, they're going to start disappearing back into space and appearing to get closer together. Okay, and then we're going to put in some grass growing. Just some little blades at the fence posts. Maybe coming up from the bottom just a little bit, just a little flick. And this is going to get smaller and smaller. Okay, until it's just a shape. Okay, then we're going to make our fence post. We want to flatten these out, going back in space just a little bit. And as you get down here, the angle is a little bit more severe. Okay. Okay, so this is where it's going to get interesting. Doing our cross fence post. So I'm gonna switch to a smaller detail brush. This, gosh, is this a 3? Yeah, a 3. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a little water in my palette, just a little bit right here. There was some purple in it before, but it won't show up. And put some black in there. I want this to be kind of scripty, and this paint is a little bit on the thick side. So I'm going to put the paint in a little water and mix it really well so that it's nice and liquidy and I can get a nice line, okay? So just a little water. You don't want it to be runny per se. You just want it to be silky and smooth when you do your lines. Okay, so now we're going to start here. We're going to pretend that our fence begins here. And then we're going to, as we go back in space a little bit, it's going to get smaller and smaller. And we're going to pretend like it ends there, okay? I may even make this a little bit thicker just to drive home the point that we're going back in space. And you could straighten up your lines a little bit. I mean, maybe it's just a gnarly piece of wood there. Sometimes that's kind of fun to have it not look like a perfect 2x4. All right, so there's our fence, and we have this little tiny line that is like a little wire that makes it look more realistic. So what we're going to do is about here, we're going to just ever so slightly give the impression of that little mid space on our fence. Okay? And over here, we're going to put a silo. Well, if we can do it. Maybe I don't have enough room. Let's first start with where we want our barn to be. So let's we're going to make sort of this top part we'll get our lines cleaned up here in a minute. We want to show that roof line. And then this line actually goes, totally messed that up. I'm going to have to bring this up a little higher now. Oh, it's okay, sweetheart. We're going to come back in space and then curve it down to show the back of our barn. My kitty cat keeps trying to help me. She's needing some attention. Okay, then we need a little bit of a vent on the top. Still trying to get that line just right. And then we just need just the time. We're going to go back to that kind of watered down paint. And I'm actually going to get my super tiny, if I can find it, my super duper tiny paintbrush. The one that's like the 0. And we're going to get it wet. And we're going to put the tiniest little steeple thing right here. If I can do it without messing up. And then there's a little thing right there. That's the top. Boy, I'm really hitting that with my head. Sorry, friends. Top of that barn. And then over here, we're going to put a silo. So let's get out our medium round brush. We're still using black. Okay, got all the water off of it. Medium round brush, number 8, I believe. And dip it into our black paint, the thicker black paint, not the thinned out one. And then we're going to bring a silo. Now, silos are usually pretty tall. So we're going to make kind of a rectangle with a rounded top. Fill that in. And go all the way down to our black line if you want to. And this barn is going to go all the way down. We can actually bring like this hill down like that. We're going to make like a little outbuilding here. We're going to pretend like this barn goes all the way back here. Now we have our barn and our fence. Maybe we have a connector there. Okay, maybe there's, I don't know, tree? We'll take a little bit of this black paint and we'll give our tree some foliage. Okay. Make sure you fill in all your spaces really good. And then I'm going to put just a little tiny, well, I might straighten this up a little bit. To put just a little tiny divot on the top of this silo. And I feel like it's kind of dark. So we're almost finished, but I feel like we might need to lighten up some of this blue, which is a little bit tricky business. But I just feel like our picture would look better. So I'm going to put some of this light blue on my palette. And I'm going to get a little brush, my number 3 round brush. Okay, so it's pretty tiny. And I'm going to just barely put some paint on it. And I'm going to come in here and lighten up, sort of dry brushing. This may end up not being a good thing, but stay out of your black. Would look better if I had done it before. That would have been better probably. But I just want to give just a little bit of color variance in here. We may end up going over that little steeple. And it's okay for us to be painterly. I mean, isn't that what we're about? Painting. So I'm going to go over that in a minute. Just hitting some light blue. Just to kind of give it a little bit of a punch. You could leave yours the way it was if you wanted. I'm just so picky. I want there to be a lot of bang for my buck. And I'm just fanning that out till it dry brushes itself into that dark blue. We don't have to go in between all of those fence posts. We can just hit the high spots. I feel like that gives a little bit better color variance. I don't know, maybe I'm... Yeah, I like the way that's looking. It's really good to paint when you got like some intensity in your work. Lights and darks really makes it emotional. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so you can sign your name maybe over here. If you want to go back, I do see a little place that I probably need to hit with black paint because it's showing. But go back in and just clean up your edges the way that you like. And you can always put a different silhouette there if you didn't want to do a farm. But I wanted to give honor to the farmers because farmers, especially recently, have really been on my heart because they've kept food on our tables. And I want to honor them and thank them for their hard work and for feeding America. I'm so grateful to the farmers of America. So shout out to the farmers. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this patriotic farm painting, and Don't forget to sign your name, and I'll see you soon. If you enjoy this, hit like and subscribe, okay? Bye, everybody.